Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your girl Angie, and today I am coming to you guys with another video. Today's video, I feel like since I have so many new family members, I have so many family on here now that's been on here for years. I've learned so much about how long you guys been following. Just take a brief moment and hop in the comment section and let me know, when did you start watching me and why? I know no one feels like doing things like that, but I just want you guys to let me know, when did you start? If you just started, what video was it, what and why? And this is gonna give you guys a little insight about me. So I'm gonna start this series on here talking to you guys more in depth about who I am, instead of what I do, that I'm a mother. All those details are wonderful, but I want you guys to better understand me. So I'm gonna take you guys down a very psychological trip. Really, it's going to be a true story experience straight out of foster care. If you do not know me, now you know. I literally spent most of my childhood and over half my life in foster care. I have so many different experiences in foster care, and I do want to leave a disclaimer. The information that I'm about to share with you guys is my story, my truth, my life, and all the details that I'm explaining. I'm going to change the names of the people for the sake of just respecting the actual identities of these individuals. Everything that I'm about to say is the truth, and it's literally my experience that I really just feel like would be very interesting for you guys to kind of like dissect. Now that I'm an adult, I think about these experiences, and this is what shaped me to be who I am today. How I became It's Angie, y'all. This should be very, very, very interesting. So without further ado, grab your popcorn and let's go ahead and take a trip back to when I was about 12 or 13 years old. So I grew up in foster care. I had several other siblings. We all went through our own experiences with my biological parents, which led us into foster care. Now, at this time, I had been in foster care since I was about 6, 7 years old. There's parts of my life when I was that little that are pretty vague because of the trauma. Now, this particular time, this story is about how my foster worker tried to, I know there are things that are censors on here. So the best way I can say is kid, abducted, abduct, tried me, okay? So this is back when I, like I said, was 12 or 13 years old. I was staying with, I got moved from my local city and I went to a more isolated city in a small town where I'm from. And in this small town, there were very few people that looked like me, and I had an extreme culture shock. So I grew up in the city. All of my life I was around the city, learned the way of the city, and then now I'm in the country, in the neck of the woods, as they would say, deep ducked off, where it was barely any people around, and if they were, they knew their neighbors, and houses were miles apart, and there was no neighbor like you go outside and can I get something? You're going to be driving for miles, and there are a lot of farm life, and it's rural, right? So I leave where I'm from. It was about, like I said, 12, 13 years old, and I ended up getting transferred to another foster family, and this foster family happened to be far away. I get to this foster family, and it's a husband and wife and a baby that they adopted, okay? And there were some things that went down in that foster home that I had to be removed from very swiftly because of the things that went down in the foster home. That's a whole nother story for another day. If you're interested, leave a comment and say, I want to know. I now had this particular foster company that I was placed with was a mom and pop company. It wasn't a chain or anything like that. It was literally just this mom and pop company that governed their own foster care agency. It's not popular. It's literally a mom and pop type of agency. And it's ran by a husband and wife and a couple of their children. So I get word that I'm being moved, emergency moved from my foster home, the current home that I was in with the husband and wife, and the little baby that they adopted from their home. So now I'm in a situation now where I'm being told that, hey, you're gonna have to move, and you're gonna have to move, and when you move, you're gonna end up going with this family or whatever. And you can't really tell anybody where you're going, but it's very important that you get adopted right away quickly. And this is the information that's being told to me. So I'm already going through the trauma and the hurt from the previous home, and now I am being forced to move to a new home with this new family, again in the middle of nowhere, where none of my family, my siblings, anyone is within miles. And at this particular time, I wasn't even allowed to go to school. So I'm just like, it's just traumatic, really. So my foster worker at the time, she contacts me and she says, hey, I'm picking you up. And my foster family let me know. She picks me up. We're in the car and she's like, hi, Angie, you know that you have to move from the home that you're in pretty quickly. And I found a family that I believe that you would really, really like. And this particular family is, they're really good people, but you cannot tell your current foster family where you're living at now, where you're about to leave from, or anybody where I'm about to take you. So I'm in the back seat of the car. I am literally, my heart is racing because now I'm about to meet new people. I grew up most of my entire childhood from home to home to home to home. I've lived in many different cities all over the place. And so now this time feels different. This feels eerie because anytime someone tells you, do not tell anybody where you're going, you're not going to know this family, they're not in a database, like all these details as I'm picking this lady's brain who happens to be my foster worker at the time. So I said, okay, why not? She's like, just trust me. They're good people. You'll really like this. This will be a good fit, but you must not tell anyone about where I'm about to take you. And I just want you to relax. I said, okay. At this point, I am, heart is pounding, flight or flight is inside of me a little bit. It's like brewing up a little bit, like, what do you mean? I've had my fair share of mistreatment, racial experiences in this particular town that I was in. Like, it was like surrounding cities where there's no one there that looks like me, just me. And I've experienced my own trauma from these experiences. So I'm just kind of like, what am I about to face now? We're driving about a good 25, 30 minutes out. 25, 30 minutes out, we're going, and we pull up to this property where this house is like pretty, like, it's like you didn't know it was a home because it was so petite, it was small. It gave like a small, like, trailer home. Envision a trailer home. So you have all this property and you have all these, and you're ducked off, like you're sitting back off the road. There's trees. There's like literally no houses for miles and miles apart from this particular property. And I'm in the back seat and I'm looking around trying to like keep in mind, like, I've always been this way. I try to remember where I'm at. Try to remember where I'm going. Try to remember, because that has helped me many different times in different situations, living in the system and being in the foster care system. So I'm doing this and I'm like, there's trees, grass, cows, trees, grass. I don't even know how I can begin to figure out where I'm headed to. Nothing looks familiar. There's no stores within miles. I don't see anybody. Maybe a car or two on the opposite two-lane road. So I'm just like panicking inside. We pull up into the area, and as we're approaching the property, this particular, the foster worker, my foster worker at the time, begins just talking about just vivid details about how it's imperative that I get adopted because there are not many homes or many families that will take children, and it's very important that I get adopted. I get adopted right away, and that I should, I will never see my siblings again, which happen to be in a whole nother city far from me, at least a good hour or so from me. And so I have no reference. I don't have a phone. I wasn't allowed to go to school at the time. I had like literally no connection to anything that was important to me in no way, and there was no way to, other than if they allowed visitation or orchestrated things so that my family could see me so far away. So at this point, I'm thinking in my head, I have a twin sister. I'm thinking about all my siblings, and then I'm feeling this strong feeling of emotions inside of my heart about never ever seeing none of my siblings again, including my twin sister, my identical twin sister. So this is already messing with my entire mental. I'm back there choking up tears because of the words she's telling me, is that you are never going to see your siblings again and your family again, but you're gonna be okay. But you have to get adopted. You have to get adopted like right away. Like today, you need to meet this family. You need to make, and you're gonna have to make a decision. And I strongly urge you to choose this family. And first and foremost, anyone who's ever been in care, you're never, as a child in foster care, you don't get dibs on what family you want to pick. It doesn't work like that. So that was the first thing that was making me more uncomfortable, is because at this time I'm 12 or 13 years old. I'm not oblivious to what is happening. I feel something off here, and I'm in my heart of all hearts, I'm like, something's off, and the hairs on my arm is standing up at this point, because what do you mean I'll never see my sister again? There is no visitations that will be orchestrated on behalf of me. I have to make an adoption. I have to get adopted to a family that I haven't even spent time with or got to know, and don't even know if it's a good fit in my heart. Like, I'm just wanting to be somewhere stable. I'm just wanting to be loved. I'm just wanting to be received. I'm just wanting to be around familiarity. I just want a sense of structure and peace. Hence why I'm telling you guys this story, to learn more about me so you can better understand me, okay? So this is what I'm thinking in my mind, because every home that wasn't a good match because of something that happened with the foster parent or whatever the case may be, or other children in the home doing things, these are all things that shape what happened in my experience. So here I am, pulling up to the house. She's like, I'm gonna take you on a mini tour. We're deep back into this property. Like, this house was not visible from the road. It wasn't visible when you first pulled in. It's like this small little like trailer home back deep into this property, and all you just see is junk all over the place. I'm talking like, it's like metal rusted things all in the yard. I see animals, I see chickens, I see cows, I see a few horses, which are my favorite, and she led with that. Angie, I know you love horses. So this family has horses. I know you work with horses, you rode horses. I do know how to ride horses. And so, this is, it's already a great fit. Mind you, the whole entire time, there's no actual name being given out of this family. There's actually no specific identity being added to this family. There's no photos of this family. There's nothing, and I'm being told as I'm driving there while I'm asking, like, what do you mean? Like, I'm trying to gauge my questions without triggering whatever is about to happen to me, right? And I'm asking these questions because I'm like, why does no one are allowed to know anything about? And it's crazy because my foster parent that I was leaving from, the home that I'm being moved from, she asked me her name. Let's give her a name. Ellen says, hey, I spoke with the foster, I spoke with the worker, and she told me that where you're going, like, she would not tell me who the family is or anything like that. I don't know, but like, let me know. So she's under the table trying to get information before I even go on this drive that's far away, right? So we get out and she says, come on, I'm gonna show you the horses because I know you love horses, right? And she's over here, at the time I'm not understanding what I was being exposed to. It was a form of manipulation that was like she sees me panicking a little bit internally. But at this time, she's using things that I'm passionate about, loving and liking, as a reference to like help me calm down, right? But I realized that this was all a part of what was about to come. So we get to the horses, we see the horses. They're beautiful. She's explaining the horses' names. That's the first time I've heard names all night, well, all evening, right? So I'm over here looking at her, and I'm walking slow, and I'm just kind of like that nod. You kind of like nodding because you don't want to be read at all. You want to be as neutral as possible because you have no idea what's about to happen. And this is what I'm doing. I'm nodding, and I'm strategically being very careful not to have frantic look in my eyes. I'm strategically trying to like wipe the sweat off my palms. I'm strategically trying to stay like calm in this particular moment. So she says the names of the horses. I don't remember. She shows me all the different animals, and she's just all up in these people's stuff. Okay, like all in their stuff. And one thing that if you don't know about living in a country, everyone knows everybody. Okay, because there is not, it's crazy. It's, you kind of like, it's a small town. The population is like under, like literally 2,000, 3,000 people. I'm literally uncomfortable. We began to approach all the different places we can go on the property, and I'm just walking along with her. And like I said, in the country, everyone knows everybody. So like the agency that I was a part of, everyone gave a family feel, and everyone knew everybody, and it's like people will acknowledge people on a first name basis. It was like common where I was staying. So I wasn't surprised by her all over these people's property, showing me around, but there was something eerie about it. She begins to state, she's like, the family's on their way, they'll be here soon. She said they have a little daughter, she's a beautiful little girl. It's not the first time I've gotten like a synopsis on who I'm about to be staying with. So at this particular time, I'm like, okay, all right, I'm listening. Like, why are we here before them? She's like, yep, the husband, she says his name is Ryan, and the wife, Cynthia, she's on her way, and they have a little daughter, Katie. I said, okay, cool. I was like, okay, so she's like, well, we can go ahead and head inside. They left the door unlocked. Yeah, I know. I said, we're going into their house, like, before they get here. She's like, yes, we're going inside. They had left the door unlocked. No worries. Everything's fine. They had left the door unlocked, so we can go ahead and go into their home, and they will meet us in. So now is where I start panicking, dang near hyperventilating. Because what do you mean we can go inside? They left the door unlocked. Like, why can't we just wait until these people pull up? Like, at this point, I'm just like really confused. So we get up to the property. And like she said, the door was unlocked. She pretty much just opened up the door, and we get into this house, and it's like really, really small. And I'm stressing really, really small because literally it was triggering fear in me because it felt like claustrophobic, like a cave vibe. I'm not being dramatic, I'm being so for real. It felt like a cave feel, like very low lit, not much light is coming in, it's stuff everywhere. It's kids' shoes, men's shoes, women's shoes. There's no photos of this family at all in the house. It's literally just like a couple pictures like on like a little TV stand that's like really, really small. In the house, there's like a coffee table full of junk and mail, but the mail was covered in like just like maybe like stuff from snack time from the baby. It's kind of dirty, right? So I'm looking on the floor, just kind of scanning the floor, scanning everything, looking around, and it's like not many windows at all. It's just like you ever heard of like a shotgun house? It's kind of like gave that vibe, but like a more like a trailer home type vibe too. And so I'm kind of just scanning around like, where am I gonna stay in here? It feels very intimate. You know what I mean? And that's not really a shock because a lot of the homes that I stayed in were trailer homes in the country where I resided. So it was just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, where am I gonna stay? Like, how big is this place? Like, it's the baby in here. You know, I'm like a teen. I'm 13. I'm thinking like, how do I see my life here? So she's speaking very in code. All the photos of that were up were no visuals at all of a woman in this particular home. All I see is the man and the baby. And so she asked me to have a seat. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I sit down and I'm sitting on this couch that's facing towards the television. And then there's like this wall part, like wall siding, and like deep, like a kind of slip around the wall is the door that we came up. We walked up little like metal stairs, and then we came in that door and we came in. And she sets her keys out on the table, and she's like, would you like something to drink? I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm ready for this family that I'm supposedly cannot say anything about who these people are. They are not here. You're all up in their home. Like, at this point, I am petrified because what's really going on? So next thing you know, I hear a car driving up gravel, maybe like 15, 20 minutes later. Sorry. She takes a call. Her phone's vibrating, right? She's a social worker, so her phone is going to vibrate. She takes a call about a child emergency, and she's like, hold on, I need to take this outside. So she steps outside, takes this call. It's about this emergency or whatever the case may be. And she takes the call. The call is taken, and I'm in the house, like, wanting to get up and, like, look out the only window that's, like, visible in the area. So I'm wanting to get up, but I'm almost afraid to, like, get up and get caught getting up, if that makes any sense. So I'm like looking around the house, skimming with my eyes as quickly as possible to find some sign of who is this family. I need to figure out who's the woman. So as she's stepping out and making the phone call, I start panicking. So I stand up, I start walking towards the door, and it was like a screen door. It was like a metal and screen door. The door slammed. She's like, where, like, you know, hey, are you okay? You know, like pretty much like she popped off the phone, didn't really want to be on the phone long. And so I know she was on the phone with work, and she had somebody had an emergency, some child or whatever had some type of emergency, and she was handling it. But at the same time, I noticed that like she started panicking a little bit when I kind of went up towards the door, because I'm like, you're leaving me in this random people's house. The last thing I want them to do is come into this home, and I'm in this home, and you're like done walked off, had a full sidebar conversation, and then something goes wrong. So I immediately start walking towards the door where she just left out of, and that's when she's like hurrying up off her phone, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, what is happening at this point? And she's like, are you okay? I was like, yep, I just need to go to the bathroom. So she lets me go to the bathroom. She's like, yep, just down the hallway to the left or right or whatever. Don't remember those details. So I'm going and I'm walking past, and I'm like looking, trying to find some type of sign of where am I and what is happening, and why is this the weirdest visitation I've ever had, and meeting a family. I never ever really met a family first before I moved in with them. So this was all like not normal protocol. Next thing you know, I go into the bathroom and everything is fine. I'm in the bathroom and I'm just kind of like panicking, like looking through the window, like what is going on? Like where am I at? Like what do I do? Like what do I do? Trying to self-talk myself down. Sorry if y'all hear the people landscaping. So next thing you know, I end up coming out of the bathroom and I hear a gravel, like the sound of tires down gravel, because this is like dirt road. We're in the country. Envision that. I hear gravel, and she's like, "Oh, it sounds like maybe the husband or the family's here." I said, "Okay, you know, awesome." So I come back into the room. I'm standing up at this point. I don't want to sit down. I'm just like standing up. And she's like, and I just want to reiterate to you that it's very important that you don't tell anyone this, because this is like typically like, you know, not how we typically do things, which I'm thinking like, yeah, it's not how you do things, but why am this supposed to be such a secret? So the guy, he ends up coming in, he kicks his shoes off, and then she starts kissing him. Like, you know, like a husband and wife peck, like a relationship. Not like making out, like she's kissing him, and he was like, "Hi, is this her?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this me. This be me." And basically, so I end up looking like even more uncomfortable. sitting over on the couch and I'm looking at this, my social worker and the husband, to the family that I'm supposed to be staying with now, and having to get adopted by and all these different things. And she was like, okay, listen to me. And it's very important that you listen to me. This is my husband. So now I'm thrown all the way off. Because I'm like, what do you mean this is your husband? Him? Because why are you kissing him? I'm confused. She's like, this is my husband. That's my daughter on the picture. She's with her grandmother. What I'm about to tell you, I'm not supposed to be doing. This is not nothing. This is not something that it's against all protocol. It's against all laws. It's against all code. So it's important that you do not tell anyone this, right? And I'm like, what are you about to tell me? Like, what's about to happen? She says, I am the family. I want to adopt you. I want to take you in. I want to take you, and my husband and I want to let you stay in our daughter's room, and we want to get you. But we're not technically allowed to do that because I am your social worker as well. And I said, okay, hold on. What do you mean? She says, I am trying to, I would have to do this discreetly, but you have to get adopted by us right away. You cannot not get adopted. It's very important. I already told Ellen, your old foster mother, that you would have to get adopted by the next family and all those things, but you cannot tell them that. And I really just think that this will be best for you. And I asked her why. Like, what is the reason why did you go think about things this way? Why were you playing with my mind? Why were you pretending like you wasn't the family? Why were you like luring me when we've been alone for literally at this point a whole 45, 50 minutes now? We've been alone. You've been my foster worker for a few months now. So it's like at this point in time, I'm not understanding why you decided to go about it this way instead of just coming straight out and letting me know what's going on, and why is there such an urgency for me to be adopted, and why would I never ever see my family ever again? Like, why are all these extremes that you're giving to me are not benefiting me in no way? Why are they making things worse? Why are they creating more stress or more fear in me than peace? Why do I have to get adopted to a family that I don't know nothing about, and then it's you, and then it's, mind you, her father and mother is the owners of this foster care agency. So this is where it gets more more freaky and more fearful, because they didn't want anyone to know where I was at. No one knew where I was at, not even work. She didn't even put it in the paperwork or anything like that she was taking me to her house. Basically, the other side is this. She says, come here, listen, I need to tell you something. Back when you were at the age of, I think I was maybe like 3 or something like that, 2 or 3, before I got taken away from my mother and father, she seen me and my siblings with my mom at a shelter because my mom was there for DV. So, because. Okay, I want to be very clear. As I was looking at this back, I'm like, okay, let me just make something clear here. What you're about to hear is something that happened in the past before I even truly met this social worker. Um, so this is in the past. She's referencing a time in the past, but at this current state in time, which will have to be in another video because this video is already long enough. That I sat at a table, a round table with um just a selected amount of people, her and I can't remember who else, but it was just a selected amount of people. It was just her and someone else, and they called the woman who adopted my twin sister and I eventually ended up adopting us. Um, they ended up calling her and someone else on the phone round table, and I wasn't allowed to be seen by anybody, none of my family or anyone. And they called them and they were basically pushing for me to get someone to tell me that I had to be adopted. And they were telling her because she already had my twin sister and I was trying to get with her, that she basically Angie has to get adopted, and she has to be with the family. She's not going to see her siblings anymore. We may have worked out one visitation before that, but basically, like, I would vanish off this face of the, like, no one would know about me anymore. My case will be closed, the books and everything will be closed, and there would be no type of way that anyone can contact me or get in touch with me. So this has already happened before I discovered who this said family was. And this is why this gets even more creepy. What you're about to hear next. So she seen her at the shelter, and she was just interning for the shelter. And she said, my mom had some issues, she had some challenges. She was like under some type of influence of some sort, and she needed a place to stay with me, my twin sister, and my middle sister, like my baby middle sister. And she named off all my twin sister name and my baby sister name. She's not my baby sister, but she's my little sister. We could have been triplets. So she names off and she says, I remember when you were little, your mom came in there and she had issues. Like, she was having challenges with her addiction and things like that. And you guys just looked so, lost and so helpless. And she was like, I don't know, I don't know, it's crazy. Like, then I found out that you were on this case, and so that's the reason why. And she goes off into more details about how we were dirty and all these different things that I'm getting painted a picture of, like, how low I was. I was a child, and she said, you guys wasn't really that clean. It was just the things that she was saying was making me more uncomfortable, because it was the choices of words, the way, like, I'm a child, I don't remember her ever, right? But the situation was that we had no direct interaction, so she was watching and surveying from a distance. So that was the more, like, I would have to say, like, more alarming part about it. She didn't have any engagement with us directly. It was more of a distance engagement while other people were connecting with us and my mom. And so I guess she got fixated on the case, or my case or whatever. And here I am now in the country, in the middle of nowhere. Her mom and dad own this agency, and they're doing a lot of different things corrupt underneath the table. And I find this out by someone who was actually counseling me, who became like a godmom. But I find out more details with other foster parents and other kids. And this has to be a multiple parts, because it's so much to say, and I'm trying to, like, get it all out, but I'm, like, trying to rush it all. But there will be a part 2. But with this particular part, what I want to leave with you guys, and I really want you guys, the alarming part, creepy part about all of this is that there was a lot of things that were happening that were against policy, that was inappropriate with the agency, and a lot of people were quitting their positions because they started noticing some corruptness in the system. Now, the reason why I brought this story to you guys is because you guys are new here, and this is literally, it's Angie, okay? And there's a lot of new family, and I'm so grateful for all those who have taken a moment to subscribe. And we are on the race of 30,000. We're, like, literally not too far from it. And I'm just beyond grateful for those who decided to go with me on this journey and learn more about me and my little ones and my family and all these different things that make me who I am. And the more strange part about all of this situation, because there is definitely a part 2 to, like, my decision and what happened after that fact and all of these other things that led up into this situation, that makes this even more eerie. But you guys will have to subscribe. You guys will have to let me know below, do you want to see a part 2 about how weird and how bad it all came out. And so the biggest and most important thing about this is that I want to spread awareness. Now, as a child who grew up in the foster care system, I do believe that the foster care system have changed so many different people's lives, right? And I've had, shout out to my mom who adopted me and my twin sister. She was a godsend. Our whole lives changed when we got with her. And I'm super grateful for her to fight with us through all of our trauma, to still love on us and teach us and pour into us, and not always getting it right, but always leading with love. And that whole experience is something that I ponder on sometimes, of how I could have literally easily never ever been found. I think about how a lot of people are not aware of the things that go on in foster care. There are a lot of children who are being treated certain ways, and things are happening inappropriately to them in their new homes, and no one knows because their families are often strung out on something, or their families have completely deserted them because of issues or whatever. No one took them in that was biological. It's just a chain of like trauma and problems that created an issue for the child to even go to something familiar. And sometimes it was better for them to be with a complete stranger. But a lot of like trauma and trials and different things happen in foster homes that are not spoken or not talked about enough, that I definitely want to start this series, because I have so many different stories about my experiences in foster care that I believe that will be good for people to see the other side of things, and see that there's a need for good people to actually do this job